Well, good evening everyone. Welcome back to another Sparks Live, the last Sparks Live of the year, and I'm looking forward to it because this is our festive bake along with Juliet Sear. Hi Juliet.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh no,
so
thank you for coming along. You'll have seen Juliet on your screens of this morning, and if no one, I don't know why they wouldn't be following you on social media. Where can they find you?
I am at Juliet Sear on Instagram, and I think just Juliet Sear on YouTube as well.
There you go. So, you've got your phones out. Have a little look. Give Juliet a follow. And yeah, tonight it's all about festive cupcakes. What is it? What exactly are we gonna make?
So we're making some delicious festive cupcakes. They've got lovely cinnamon flavour, brown sugar, and of course we're going to go to town and just get really creative and do loads of really fun decorating. So we're going to do some trees, some wreaths, and get some of the Percy action. Love it. Yeah.
And we're going to get the recipe and the ingredients up on the screen now. So let's pop that up. I don't know if you want to run through any of this or.
Yep. So we've got the sponge ingredients all at room temperature. So we've got 4 eggs. We've got 200 grams of butter, 200 grams of light Muscovado sugar, or any sugar you like. You don't have to use that sugar. I like to use it for the caramel flavour, but you can use any sugar. 200 grams of self-raising flowers. We've got some flowers. That would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be nice.
200 flowers in there, flour. Some cinnamon. We've got some vanilla extract, a bit of salt. So that's our sponge mixture that we're going to make first.
Yep.
Once we've made that, we're going to get them in the oven, and then we're going to go onto our frosting, which is really simple. Easy frosting for piping, so it's double the quantity sugar to butter, and we've got 250 grams of butter, 500 grams of icing sugar,
brilliant,
some flavouring, and of course some lovely food colouring to make it all Christmassy.
Okay, and we're going to put the method there up on the screen now as well. Let's drop the method up, and then we can have a little talk through there. And obviously you don't necessarily have to cook along live with this right now. You can watch this back. You can watch us having a good time and watch me make a mess of my cupcakes, to be honest, and watch again and follow the expert. And
well, the thing is, it isn't very tricky. That looks quite long-winded, but it really isn't. We're just going to cream our ingredients together, mix up our frosting. It looks a lot because I've explained how to decorate. So watch and enjoy. And like you say, either do it along with us or save it for something to do with your friends and family, or get competitive, impress your friends in the office.
I like that. And it's still early days, so if you start practicing now, you're going to definitely win the competition on the last week in the office. So get practicing. Anyway, let's get started.
Brilliant. Okay, perfect. So into here I am putting my sugar.
And you said you could use any sugar for this, but you like the flavour of that?
Yeah, I like the flavour of this. So like a golden caster sugar, but you can use any white caster sugar. And then I put my butter. So my butter is softened at room temperature.
Yep.
So it's really important when you're baking to have everything at room temperature, because otherwise it sometimes doesn't come together quite as well. It will still be fine, but you'll just find the texture and the lightness will be better. So you want to make sure your butter's kind of squidgeable. So not oily, but sort of squishy.
Spreadable.
Spreadable.
You better get that easily onto your...
You want it to just really cream together nicely with the sugar. So if it's really icy cold and you've got a microwave, you can just do it like 10-second blasts for just on low temperature. So in that goes.
Yeah. And while you add that in, I just want to talk about the Sparks Live competition. So all you have to do is send your favourite M&S Christmas product to the email address on the screen, and you're going to win. Well, you've got the chance to win £75 of M&S vouchers. That'll come in very, very handy this festive season. I'm going to ask, what is your favourite M&S? Not necessarily Christmas product, but just product in general.
Oh, it's so hard because I am a massive M&S fan.
Yeah.
At the moment, I guess, we love in our house the Plant Kitchen Kievs. But it's hard to choose, isn't it?
Yeah, but they are good, the Plant Kitchen Kievs.
And I quite like the festive gins at the moment. Have you seen those? So perfect for Christmas. Give it a shake.
Give it a shake. Got a bit of edible gold in there. Bit of glitter. Bit of music.
Do you have the music?
Let's try and get some music on. And then we're going to
just start this as well. We won't forget. We'll be too busy just doing Christmas dance, and we won't get any cake.
Yeah. Well, still, I'll enjoy a bit of dancing at Christmas. I'll be dancing after a bottle of that. But that's a brilliant gift this Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bit of a centrepiece for the table.
What's your favourite?
It's so hard. I tell you, at Christmas time, my favourite product is M&S. I think you can buy it fresh or frozen stuffing. And to me, that is like, when a taste is nostalgia. Growing up, I got my grandparents for Christmas dinner, and there was always M&S pork and chestnut stuffing on the plate. And to this day, we still have to have it, because for me, it's not a Christmas dinner without that, and it's just like childhood memories. So that's my Christmas favourite.
That does make all the difference, doesn't it? Having the familiar things that bring back those kind of Christmassy feelings every year.
It's really
nice,
does.
Isn't it? Right, I'm just going to turn this up a bit. So if you don't have a stand mixer, or you can use an electric hand whisk, or you can just use a bowl and a wooden spoon. You just need to take a bit more time, but you just want to really cream it until it goes much lighter in colour and sort of fluffy.
Are you getting air into there by doing that?
It does add a bit of air into that, yeah. So by beating that in. And the next thing we're going to add is some vanilla extract. So I have that here. So I'm just going to pour that in while it's going.
It's important to use extract, not essence, isn't it?
I prefer extracts, yeah, it's got a more natural flavour.
Yeah.
Or you can use the, you get the pastes as well, like vanilla bean paste.
Yeah.
Or you can use a real vanilla pod.
Okay.
Again, if you don't have it, you can leave it out, because we're going to also add some cinnamon to this. But I love vanilla, so. Yeah. So now that's going there. Would you mind just passing one of the spatulas?
Yep.
Lovely. Okay. So I'm just going to crack an egg in here. Now I'm adding 4 eggs to this.
Okay.
And I don't know about you, Chris, but when I'm doing this, I add my eggs separately. I crack them into a bowl first and then add them in, so you don't get any shell that kind of like falls into your bowl. So, because that does happen.
Good point, because if you crack it into the side of there, you're going to
get a bit of shell and you're trying to get it out. So I'm just going to turn this down to a lower speed. And now you just want to kind of incorporate them until they're kind of all mixed through. With the stand mixer, sometimes you have to kind of
give it a lift up.
And then just scrape around the edge of the bowl, just to kind of, because what happens is all the sugar and butter climbs up the side there, and then so I'm just going to scrape that back down. But
I think one people fear at home is it looks like it can be splitting or curdling, but it will look like that, and it'll come together, won't it? And we've still got the flour to go in.
Once the flour goes in, it'll all be fine. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes it does look a bit.
But don't worry about that.
Good point. Right.
I have a question for you. So we all see you on this morning, and it's great to see all the stuff you make on there, but what have been the things that you've made that Holly and Phil have just been like, that is like seriously good? So what, like their favourite things that you've made?
Well, obviously they love everything,
Well, of course.
It's hard to say, but I think in actual fact, I'd say the last Christmas time was probably when I got one of the best reactions from both of them. And that was my world's best Christmas cake.
Well, you can't beat a world's best, really, can you?
Yeah, and what I did, I actually, because I love to serve my Christmas cake with cheese. Yeah. It's like a chutney. And what I did, we had a cheese board, and I decorated my wedge of fruitcake to look like a piece of Stilton. Yeah. And they didn't know it was fruitcake. So then when we cut into it, it was like they were surprised by the sort of, it was kind of an illusion cake, but then the lovely taste.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But also I made a lovely alternative to a Christmas pudding last year, and Phil loved that as well. It was like a big Christmas bomb stuffed with ice cream.
I saw that, yeah. Because do you eat Christmas pudding at Christmas?
I do. I like it.
Because I think a lot of people have it and they're not even really a fan of it, but there's so much other stuff what else could people do at home if it wasn't Christmas pudding that they're into?
Well, I think sometimes people quite like a nice kind of Christmassy trifle, which is quite nice. I think it's nice to have something that looks impressive on the table. What I love about Christmas pudding is the fact that you can bring it out and set light to it. It's flaming. You're impressing everyone at the table.
It's a showpiece, isn't it?
It's a showpiece, yeah. But I mean, some lovely ice cream's always nice, especially if you've got like a mixed range of ages. Yeah. You've got the kids. A lot of them they don't like Christmas pudding. Yeah. But you can actually don't throw away any of your Christmas pudding, because you can use it to make truffles, or you can. I've got a lovely cookie recipe where you put chunks of Christmas. Where can we find this on your website or something? Or that's
on
coming
your
Instagram? Out soon. Okay. Yeah, I've got loads on my Instagram.
Yeah. So all these Christmas tips on Juliet's Instagram. Can we just recap? What have we got in there so far? In here we have our creamed butter and sugar, our vanilla extract, and we've got 3 of our eggs now. Yeah. And like you say, it does look all quite curdly and stuff now. And what do we need to do if that happens, or is that just nothing to really worry about? Don't worry about it, because once you get the flour in, then it will be fine. So I'm going to put my last egg in here. Do you have Christmas pudding every year? Yeah, I like Christmas pudding. I like it with brandy sauce and custard though. I like a bit of both. Yeah, no, fair enough. But yeah, I think it's a taste of Christmas. But I love Christmas cake as well. Like that's like probably my all-time favourite cake is a Christmas cake. Oh, same here. Yeah, actually. Like a fruit cake. Right, so my last ingredients go in is my self-raising flour, and I'm going to add my cinnamon to that first, just so it can kind of... Is that going to make it a bit Christmassy, I guess? A bit of cinnamon, a bit of spice? I just love the flavour of cinnamon at Christmas. And the smell when it bakes as well, it's just really I think if you've got people coming round, baking something like this just makes your house smell amazing, doesn't it? Yeah, definitely.
So I'm just going to kind of mix that through, and then we're just going to add this into the mixture and it'll be ready to go. So you don't really even need to sieve this, it's quite an easy recipe.
Do you have any tips? Like, there's a lot of, I don't bake every day, but it's a bit of a science, isn't it? Are there any tips for people getting started at home with baking or want to do more of it? Any golden rules that you swear by?
Yeah, I think I would say where people generally sort of slip up is they just don't give themselves enough time. And then they sort of have to rush it because they think, oh, I can just do this in like 10 minutes and read the recipe and read it again. But give yourself plenty of time so you can actually enjoy it, because that's the worst thing, I think, when people try and rush something.
That's the point, you should be enjoying it, shouldn't you?
Yeah, and I know obviously not everyone has so much time, but just start with something simple.
Yeah, like your cupcakes.
Yeah, cupcakes or something like cookies.
Yeah.
Always have the ingredients at room temperature, which will help. But yeah, time, I think that's definitely a thing, I'd say. Yeah.
Pick something you know you've got time to make.
So we'll just get this in here.
Yeah, and you add this gradually?
I'm just adding it gradually, like in increments of like 2 or 3. But I mean, you could even just do that. Just mix it in. And what you're looking for is just for all of the powder to sort of disappear into the mixture. Yeah. And then once that disappears, just stop mixing, because you don't want to over-mix your flour, because otherwise it goes tough, doesn't it? You kind of develop the gluten in there. So you want to keep it nice. When you're doing any cake,
isn't it? Don't overwork that flour.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got a question coming up for me here, asking, Chris, what do I bake at Christmas? I like to do mince pies.
Oh, do you?
I love a mince pie, just slightly warm out the oven.
Oh,
that
wonderful.
For me is magic. And you know, you can make your own mincemeat, or something, just buy a job, you can add to it, can't you?
Exactly.
Add a bit more booze, bit of
fresh
zest.
Orange zest.
Yep.
And like I was saying to you earlier, not that I'm obsessed with cheese or anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this was what we were talking about.
So that's talking about this morning. Last time I was on, I made mince pies, and we got the presenters to try it with cheese. Like, so try it as a sandwich, like you would with an Eccles cake. Wow. A nice slab of cheese in your mince pie. Give it a try.
Can we get some mince pies and cheese up here? Because I really want to try that. I'm intrigued. If I don't try it tonight, I'm going to buy that.
Right, so that's it. So what we'll do is we'll just get this into a big bowl, and we can just add these in together. Okay. And what I'm going to do is just decant this into here so that we can get our bowl washed, because then we can be making our frosting.
While we're getting to there, a question's coming in for you. Have you ever had any baking fails or a big disaster that...
Oh yeah, plenty of those. I mean, I used to be absolutely rubbish at baking. I think the first cake How long have you been baking? The first cake I ever baked was about I think it was about 15. Okay. Because I do actually prefer cooking savoury food, but I kind of got into baking because I love hosting, I love feeding people. Yeah. So making a cake for someone, and just getting loads of people together, so you always need a cake for it. Yeah. But yeah, the first cake I ever made, I tried to make one from a popular game at the time. Yeah. And it was literally, it came out like, I'll just give you this as well. It came out like a biscuit. Oh.
But then again, it's just practice makes perfect,
exactly.
Right?
I did give up for a while.
Oh,
then
right,
I went back to it. Yeah, it's just practice. I probably hadn't read the recipe.
Didn't give yourself enough time. Yeah. But it happens to the best of us anyway. I'm going to disappear and I'll come back with this.
Okay, and I'm going to start filling the cupcake cases. So just bring this here. And what you need to do is make sure you don't overfill them. So you want to fill them to just over halfway. I was going to say, just when you fill them just over halfway, because it's nice to have, they don't rise too much, you've got space to get a really neat frosting. But at the end of the day, if they do rise a bit too much, you can always trim them down. And that's the thing, I do like to make things look really, because I do it for my job, I like to make things really perfect. But, you know, it's not the be all and end all, but you know, well, it's your... I do get a bit particular about my...
I guess the more you do it, the better you want them to look and everything, but if you're at home. But then again, if you're going to do it, why not do it properly?
That's what I always say.
Yeah, that's it.
Exactly. So it'll be easier as well, because if it's a nice flat top, then you'll get an easier...
And that's a nice technique there, isn't it? Like onto one spoon and scrape it off with the other.
Yeah, it's funny because everyone's got their own different ways, and I love cooking with other people because everyone's got their own different ways of doing things, and there's no right or wrong way. Lots of people that I know like to use a ice cream
I've
stick.
seen that before, yeah.
And I just can't get on with it.
Yeah.
So I just do it like this, yeah. Some people like to be really precision and actually put it in a piping bag and weigh it into the... Yeah. So,
and have you put any salt in with it? Was there a pinch of salt in with the flour?
I forgot the salt. It's not the end of the world, but Yeah, put the salt in
Pinch
if
of
you
salt.
want. It's not the end of the world, but
Yeah.
yeah, I should have put salt in there. I was too busy chatting about
Chatting
Christmas.
away. You're looking forward to Christmas?
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah, it's magic.
Yeah.
Just this year to be able to do it sort of with people, and I don't know, like I'm not bothered about getting gifts and stuff. It's more just sitting down. I think everyone's going to appreciate it a bit more, aren't they? Just,
I think so.
Especially sharing food with people.
Well, I think, yeah, especially if you're a food lover, which I'm sure everyone watching along here is. It's just a great time, isn't it? Because what I love about it, for one thing, is a lot of the time, it is the sort of time you relax because some things do close. But yeah, eating all the food, being with friends, family.
And Helen, I'm just going to give Helen, who's watching, a mention, who makes her own lovely mince pies and takes them up for the postman and bin men for a treat. And it's nice to go with their coffee break. What a nice thing to do.
Oh, that's
Helen,
lovely.
I wish I lived closer to you so I could come and eat a few mince pies.
Maybe Helen might do a few cupcakes for them for this.
Yeah, there's a point.
Mix it up a bit.
No pressure, Helen. Right, let me get you that stand mixer
Perfect. So I'm just going to put them in the oven. So these are going in at... Oh, wonderful, thank you. That's a bit low, that one, but we can just eat them. Sometimes if there's one that's a bit shallow at the end, you just have that when it's nice and warm. Taste it. So these will go in 170 degrees for about check them after about 12 minutes. Everyone's ovens vary, obviously. Yep. So they'll take about like 14-ish minutes.
Okay. How do you know exactly when it's done?
So you just, they should be well risen, light and springy, and then if you just test a couple in the centre, your knife should come out, like I use a small sharp knife, you could use a skewer, should come out completely clean and free of mixture. Yeah. But you don't want them to be dry, so make sure you check it and it's just baked. So in they go.
Sue's just commented she loves the ding dong jumper, as you can imagine, available in M&S, as is Juliet's.
We're a bit of a double act.
Yeah, a bit of a double act. Fabulous and ding dong over here. And a question has come in as well, I think from Sue. Can you use oil rather than butter, or is it one of the things you must use butter for?
You could use oil. Yeah, it will. Sometimes it's a bit more moist if you use oil. So you can use melted coconut oil. You can use vegetable oil if you want to. But yeah, I like to use butter in my cupcake.
The flavour.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
right,
where's
I'll get you that.
Oh, lovely. Thank you very much. So, the ingredients we're having now, we've got our room temperature softened unsalted butter for vanilla. I'm using unsalted butter for the vanilla cupcakes. Sometimes I'm doing a chocolate buttercream or a caramel one, I'll use a salted butter, but I prefer to use unsalted for this. Yeah. I'm actually making double the amount that everyone's making at home. Okay. Is
that so we can eat it off a spoon?
Yeah. But so we've both got plenty to have a go with. So I've got some icing sugar here, and I'm not just saying this, I love the M&S icing sugar because you don't need to sieve it.
Oh, right, okay.
Now that's actually really hot, that
bowl. Is that too hot?
Yeah.
Shall I cool that down?
Because you were trying to sabotage me, weren't
you? No, I
wasn't
wasn't trying to sabotage you. We've just washed it so well in the dishwasher in very quick time. So
that's a good tip, actually. Do you mind asking them if they can just run it under some cold water?
I'll run it under some cold water.
That's a good tip, actually. That has happened to me before. Yeah, I will do a nice Christmas dance. I should get my gin bottle out and put the music on. Make sure that you don't put any of your buttercream into a hot bowl, something straight out the dishwasher, because literally your butter will just melt and it's really hard to bring it back to the right consistency. And if you want to do some piping with it, it will just be ruined. So again, I've got exactly the same squidgeability of butter for this. And I've got some icing sugar, so you've got 250 grams of butter and 500 grams of icing sugar. And that is about the perfect amount, so it holds its shape when you pipe it. And I'm going to add some food colouring as well. We're going to make a few different shades because we're doing some Christmas wreaths and some Christmas trees. So you want to have your icing sugar and your butter and your food colouring if you're using it. And as soon as my bowl's cooled down, I can show you how to make it. Oh, perfect timing.
Give that a little dry off.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world if it's a bit damp inside. It would be worse if it was hot.
Boiling hot that was as well, wasn't it?
It would literally just, melt the butter. So this is too hot as well, Chris.
I'll sort that out, don't worry about that.
Burning hot, but I can get my stuff in.
And what is it? Because it'll melt the butter. Right.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do,
I'll cool this down.
If you cool it down, that's great. So I'm using a stand mixer here. You can do this in a stand mixer, you can use an electric hand whisk, and again, you can do it by hand. It will take you a bit more time, and if you're doing that with a bowl and wooden spoon, you just want to kind of gradually mash the butter into the icing sugar until it's all incorporated into one sort of clump, and then you can beat it to make it more fluffy. If you are using a stand mixer, this is a tip I like to say, don't just put the butter and cream it and soften it first. That's how I used to do it. But what happens sometimes then, you get like little bits of butter left at the bottom, which I like to call butter nuggets. And sometimes when you're piping your buttercream, you'll just get a lump of butter. So to prevent that, you want to put some of your icing sugar in first and cream that. So I've got my icing sugar, which you don't need to sieve. And another tip, you know when you put icing sugar in something and it just get like the cloud and it goes all over your kitchen?
I was just going to say, when you open that icing sugar, how did you open it without it going in?
Well, yeah, because it goes everywhere. So sometimes if I was just to tip the icing sugar into the bowl from a height, it would make a real mess. So you want to just get the bag down there. And that will just minimise it. You will still get a bit of it, but it will just minimise so much icing sugar. Because if you do a lot of baking, your house will get really dusty. So I'm going to put all of my butter into here. Whoops. Okay.
And I just want to let you know, Anne Howell's son, who's age 7, loves watching you and your series, Beautiful Baking.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you liked it. I've got some like little films going out on this morning as well with some new Christmas recipes.
Oh, nice.
So this year, so I've got the.
Can you give us a teaser to these Christmas recipes?
One's already out there, and it's a lovely Yule log, chocolate orange Yule log. And then we've got coming a lovely candy cane showstopper and some Christmas scones.
Oh, nice.
Just telling you there, that's a top secret. There we go. So on that goes.
On it goes.
And there's my cool
down. Is that cool enough?
Yeah, it's perfect. And now I'm just going to mix it on slow.
Yeah, I guess if you start it fast, that's when you're going to get it.
Yeah, exactly. And it does sometimes happen, but I've got a guard here on mine, which is really helpful because I'm actually probably one of the most messy bakers.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. Anyone who works with me will say that.
Like, all the
I don't know what it is.
Now.
I just kind of get into something and I'll just make mess everywhere.
It's part of the fun of baking now.
Yeah. Once you get in your zone, you start to be creative. I just find I kind of just.
What's the most extravagant sort of cupcakes you've ever done? Obviously, you designed some unbelievable cakes, but are there any cupcakes that have been real standout for you?
Oh gosh, that's a hard question actually, because I've made thousands, hundreds of thousands. I'm trying to think.
Or even like a regular cake.
Well, so my favourite cupcakes, I guess, bit of a name drop, but my favourite ones, I made some for Ian McKellen's 70th birthday.
As you do.
I made them, so I used to have a bakery and I used to do a cake called This Is Your Life, and it would have like pictures of everything people love, their family, stuff from all their life. I did one for Jamie Oliver as well, which like, had all the things he loves on it. But for Ian, we did some cupcakes, and they had pictures of his mum and everything from when he was little. And I was lucky enough to be there when he had them, because my son George, I don't know if he's watching, he was in a show with him. Yeah. And he loved them, and he was crying, and it was like really nice because it was really emotional. Right, so that's my one packet of icing sugar in there.
So start with one, then in with the next.
Yeah. So do you mind opening that second one for me, Chris? If that's okay. Just get that in there.
I'll try and do it without making a mess.
Well, it's not our kitchen, is it? So we can.
Yeah,
well, it helps clean up at the end, of course.
And Jane would like to know which sort of food colouring. Is it liquid or gel? What do you recommend at home? The gel colours are better if you want to keep your consistency nice and strong. So you can get sort of the gel colours now in the supermarket. Obviously these ones are M&S ones. Yeah. I, of course, because I do loads of cake decorating and I'm going to do a few shades, I do have some different professional colour gels. But you definitely don't want to use a liquid food colouring, because then it will make the icing runny. Okay. Yeah. And a quick reminder, the competition will close at 6:30, so make sure you get into the email address your favourite M&S Christmas food, and you could win £75 in vouchers.
I went completely loud over you when you were telling about the competition there.
Get your entries in. So
now I'm going to put the rest of the icing sugar in, and like I say, I am obviously making quite a lot here, just because we've got enough for both of us to, because I want to see how all your piping skills and everything. And
well, let's put me to the test.
So yeah, we're just going to basically incorporate all this sugar, whip it up till it's nice and fluffy, and then we're going to beat the air out, because this is the interesting thing actually. Some frosting you want it to be nice and light and fluffy and moussey, but when you're piping with it, you don't want it to be too aerated, because sometimes it just doesn't really hold its shape. So once I've beaten it up and it's been really light and fluffy, I'll just put my mixer on slow to eliminate all the air bubbles, and that just helps a bit.
And at what point do you start to colour this?
Just right at the end.
Okay, right at the end.
So we're nearly good to go. Yeah. So I am going to sort of like beat it so it comes nice and pale and creamy. With this particular frosting, we're colouring ours green. But if you, for example, wanted to get a really bright white frosting.
Yeah, as you do, because butter's got a yellow.
Yeah, so sometimes people want to do something like really, really bright white. So there's a few ways you can do that. First of all, you can. Oh, sorry, do you mind passing me another spatula?
Yeah. There we go.
So you can try adding a tiny drop of purple food colouring if you have it. But something that I do, and I don't know why I did this, but basically one time I was in my bakery, it was really cold, we were really rushing, the butter wasn't quite soft enough, and we just boiled some water, and I just trickled in some boiled water on slow, just a, sort of a tablespoon or so, and then I turned the speed up, and it does something to the butter. I think it's the emulsification, and it really brightens it and whitens it. So you can try that, and also something I'm doing, I've been doing this year. If you want it super white, you can also use half vegetable fat and half butter.
Oh right,
you
okay.
just need to add a bit more salt, for example, because it's not as much flavour.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's all the icing sugar in there now.
And there's so many bits we're going to decorate with here tonight. I guess you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, this is the fun bit. This is a great bit about cake decorating. Yeah. So when you've got all the you've got the cake baked, you've got the buttercream made, you've got the worst thing is like getting all the colouring done. So we'll do that together now. Yeah. But then once you actually get creative, so I'm going to show you a few different things we can do. We've got loads of things to play with here, and I love some of these festive Percy friends.
It's fun, isn't it?
So we can just, so whatever you've got at home, you can just be creative with it really. So I'll show you a few tips and then hopefully you can be inspired to do your own designs.
Great.
So now I'm just going to add a little bit of green food colouring here, because we're going to make 3 shades of green for the wreath, because it just looks really nice.
And I guess start with a little, you can always add more, but you can't take it away,
Exactly. And it's so annoying when you have to then add loads more butter and icing sugar.
Start
you can freeze it, and, but so I'm just going to start, like I say, just a couple of drops in there, and we'll just see how that looks. So piping bags, I've got 6 piping bags over there.
Libby would like to know how to stop the buttercream from going a bit runny when it's whisked up.
So it shouldn't, if you're using block butter and icing sugar at this quantity, it really shouldn't go runny. Where people sometimes go wrong is they will use a low fat butter or a spread, and sometimes that will go runny because it's got water content in there. Yeah, so I think sometimes so you want to be using like a hard block butter. And the same as if you're doing something plant-based. Now obviously you can get so many great plant-based alternatives. And originally there was more spreads, but now you can get like a plant-based block butter, so it's got to be quite solid at room temperature. Right, so let's have a look at that. So yeah, this is what I said, this kind of takes the time to get all of our colourings made. But once we've got them, decorating the cupcakes is the fast bit. So that's just too light there, so I'm just going to squeeze in a little bit more. There we go, so that's quite a nice light green, even a tiny bit more.
Have you got any big sort of baking projects or celebrity clients this Christmas, or maybe you can't mention?
No, I'm not making any sort of like cake orders this year, no, but just been doing lots of fun sort of jobs and things for TV and...
And you did a great series in lockdown for bake-alongs, didn't you?
Yes, I did, and you did as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I wasn't doing the baking, I was doing more the cooking, but watching some of your...
It was nice, I did some... I'm just going to put a bit more of this strong gel in here, because I just want to get it... I want to go really bright so everyone can see what I'm doing. I did some really lovely sort of baking boot camps, where I sort of teach people for over 2 days to kind of completely bring a showstopper to life.
Amazing.
Which was really lovely. We did that... we kind of did a competition, and then all of the cakes that I made went to the NHS, and we'd sort of like deliver them to hospitals and stuff.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And if you didn't want to make buttercream, is there anything else you could top cupcakes with?
Yeah, you can do something like a lovely ganache, which is really lovely, but especially like if you've got a chocolate. Let's get our bags filled. If you've got a chocolate cupcake, a lovely orange flavoured ganache would be lovely for Christmas.
And we're going to say we've got piping bags here, but if you didn't have a piping bag, is there a top tip of how to make your own?
Yeah, there is a tip actually. I can show you that now. And I've just realised that I've coloured all this green, but I actually wanted to use a bit of a white base, so I'm going to keep that light and make mine even a bit greener. So I'll show you how to. I'll show you how to spread on a cupcake, and I'm going to show you how to make a piping bag if you don't have one. So let's just get some of this out, which is meant to be white. I've been too busy chatting, but it will be fine.
Light green.
Light green.
Looks good to me.
I think we have some baking paper here.
Okay. So this is if you haven't got a piping bag.
While I show how to make a piping bag, are you happy to carry on making this a bit greener?
Yeah.
So if you can just stir in some of this, you can just use the spatula and stir it. You don't have to. Okay. Yeah. So we just want a slightly darker shade.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a piping bag, just take a square of baking paper and then a pair of scissors, and you want to just cut it over on the diagonal like this from corner to corner. That's looking lovely. I think that's like, no, I like that for the first lighter shade, yeah. Then what you want to do, don't dip it in all mess like I have. So you can, it is quite useful to use a stapler for this, but I'll show you what to do if you don't have one. So you just need to take one corner, so you want the sort of the point towards you and then the longer part away from you. Okay. One corner like this, and what you're doing is you're just folding it over and you're bringing it down to meet this point. Right. So you just go like that and make it into a cone. Yep. See? And then it's a bit fiddly, you just kind of have a practice and then you know, a few times. Then you pinch it, hold it like this, and then take the other piece around to meet your thumb. Okay? So it's kind of a rough cone now. Yeah. And then what you want to do is just tuck that under your thumb, and then you can sort of wiggle it around like this, just so I'm not letting go, but I'm just kind of tightening it up like this. And then just staple it in, like that.
And that's completely sealed at the end at this point. There's no gap there.
Exactly, it's sealed at the end, so you can use that. You can pipe. You can literally just snip a little hole to do some writing, or you can do a larger hole if you want to pipe. Brilliant. You can also use a food, so it should be really sharp if you tap it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
You can also pipe from a food bag if you want to. Yeah. If you don't have a stapler, you can literally just.
But it's so easy to get piping bags now as well, isn't it?
It is easy.
It's very common.
But sometimes I think, people sort of get inspired and they're like, oh, I haven't got any. Yeah. So rather than using a stapler, just fold it.
Okay, and just keep it in.
And then you sort of crease, pinch it like that and tear it in two places, like this. So I've kind of made a little tab like that, and then fold that down.
Easy.
And that should stay in place. Yeah. There you go.
Perfect.
So let's get our piping bags loaded up. So we're using some
Do you want any of this taken out of there, by the way?
Well, no, what we're going to do is we're going to put some light in, and then we're going to make it darker. And
right, we get darker again.
I think that's the plan anyway. Right. Hopefully it won't go wrong. So
stapler's done with.
One of these spooners. So here I've got a few different nozzles for us to use, and these are just star nozzles, fairly sort of like medium-sized ones. So they're all a bit different, and it doesn't matter. You can just use any type you've got, really. So I'm going to do two light ones. So let's. So he's got sort of more teeth on there. So if you're doing this by yourself, you might just want to stand this in a cup or something. Sometimes it can be a bit fiddly.
So you've just rolled that over the back of your hand.
Yeah, and I'm just going to literally pop that in there like that. Dollop it in. There we go. Maybe a bit more. So that's our light colour.
The questions come in for you. What is your favourite cake to make ever?
It's got to be Christmas cake because I love Christmas so much, and I used to hate Christmas cake, but I think more and more times I tried it when I used to work in London. Yeah. It just reminds the smell when it's baking. Yeah. It's just easy. It never goes wrong. It's just all in a bowl.
Get it done in advance.
And the flavour, and then the nice thing about it is it lasts for ages. So you can do it in advance. You can decorate it. You know, it's just a fun thing to make.
And do you feed it with a bit of alcohol?
Oh yes. Yeah. So in my recipe, I put brandy and vodka. So
nice.
Extra
brandy
kick,
and vodka. Yeah. And a quick note: the competition has closed. We'll be revealing the winner at the end. So keep on watching.
So now we're just going to make this a bit darker again.
There we go.
There we go. So like I say, this is a bit of the long-winded bit that does take time, and that's quite often you're asking me about tips for baking, and what puts people off baking sometimes is a lot of the time it is quite a lot of prep before you actually get the action and start doing things.
Yeah, before you get to eat the cake.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, like you say, you pick a day where you know you're going to be in the house, you can put some music on, have some fun with it, and if you're with your friends, your kids, your family, your housemates, nice thing to do together. Yeah.
And you don't have to, like if you want to do this, you don't have to make 3 shades of green, you can just do it with one. Yeah. But I'm just being, I've got my design. Yeah. And that's how I like to do it. Ooh. It just looks quite good for the wreath that I'm going to show you.
I feel a lot of pressure on me here to deliver.
Oh no.
I've been snaffling away on these M&S after dinner mint.
They're good, aren't they?
Oh, It's so good.
And I'm going to show you a good way of using those to decorate a cupcake.
I thought it was just for me to eat. I didn't realise you were there for that.
Yeah, make sure you leave a couple.
Yeah. Oh, good.
There you go. So.
When are you next on this morning, or when's your series back on?
I don't. I think it's some. Do you know what? I'm not sure. I think it's Thursday or Friday this week. I think. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And with live stuff, it does change.
Yeah.
So it can move around.
A bit last minute.
Yeah. So that's that, and we'll make one more darker, and then we'll be ready to start doing our decorating.
How long have the cakes been in this far?
I didn't put a timer on.
So right. Okay.
But that. Do you know what? You must be in tune with the baking, because they look.
I wish I was in tune with it.
Oh,
they look decent, them, don't they?
They're perfect.
Lovely.
There we go. So, nice
and like the
springy.
perfect like dome shape on there.
There we go, look at that.
So you want a little bit of spring on there.
Yeah, and they will shrink back down a little bit once they...
I'll sort.
I'll just put that... Oh, I'll put them over here.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Because we have made some earlier because I wanted to get on and do the decorating. Let's just get them out, but that's what we can...
It smells delicious. Like that little bit of cinnamon there, that's like Christmas coming out the oven, that is.
Oh yeah, it is. Right, okay, so we'll just do our last colour now. So I'm going to do a nice dark one.
Zara would like to know, is there any way to salvage her Christmas cake? She has a feeling she may have overworked it. I mean, are you making it right now?
So, with my Christmas cake hasn't got hardly any fruit in it. I mean, any flour in it. So, and doesn't need a lot of mixing with the flour in. So I would just probably guess I'd need to sort of know what recipe you're using really. But I mean, if you think you have, and there's no harm in baking it, I'm sure it will taste fine. There's only one way. There's only one way to find out. Just soak a lot of booze into it. That'll save you. There you go. Right, let's just make this a bit darker. Yeah. That's going to be really dark now, but I think it'll be nice. There we go, lovely. Like I think what my struggle will be with decorating things is when to stop. That is a thing. Less is more. Yeah. But sometimes, I mean, we're going to kind of go to town here and put lots on ours because it's like quite fun and festive. There we go. I'm just trying not to get it on my lovely jumper. So brave moving the white with the green icing. Right. Can you make the buttercream the day before? Could you get this prep done and then you could maybe do your decorating the next day? You definitely can. And something like a buttercream like this, unless it's very warm in your house, you can just keep that room temperature. For a week or so because it's very sugary. Do you keep your butter in the fridge at home generally? If it's going to be kept for a long period of time, I do, but I always get it out the night before if I want to bake with it, because it does take a long while to soften up. Right, we're nearly ready. Right, let's get ready to make cupcakes. So we need to get our ready-made ones. Oh yes, yeah. So where are our ready-made cupcakes? They're in the other kitchen. Some we baked earlier. I'll come back. So we came in and we did our baking. So they'll be cooled down. So you obviously, now you can watch along and we'll show you some fun tips for piping. There we go. And then, oh lovely, thanks Chris. I think we've even got some more out there. Some more out there. Unless I've eaten them. Well, I hope not. Yeah, so we'll show you some cool tips for piping. Let's just move this out of the way. Might just pass that to Chris in a minute. Fantastic. Would this be the ones? Actually, I might turn the oven off because it's very warm. Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you. There we are. Oh, not these ones. Oh, not that. Yeah. We won't mention those, will we? No, we'll not mention them. There's another lot in there somewhere, but I'll just put this over here for now, shall I? Oh, there's more. I did see more. There we go. Let's put them there. Okay. Fantastic. And just need to get a cloth. I did say I was the messiest baker in the world, and I've literally put buttercream all over the surface. Right, here we go. I think there's some on here. No. Any of them? Yeah, these ones. Yeah. There we go. I can spot mine a mile away. Spot our own work. There we go. You're in here. That'll do. That's baking away. That's the ones. Okay. Fantastic. How many have we got in total? Well, we've got about, I think this batch makes about between 16 to 20 depending on your cupcake sizes. Yep. So we don't have to do them all, but I was just saying to everyone, they can watch now. Yep. And then once you finish watching this and your cakes have cooled down, then you can decorate yours. And it would be lovely, wouldn't it, if people want to share their pictures. And what hashtag should they use? Hashtag MyMarksFave, but tag Juliet, tag M&S and myself, and we'll share them on our social medias. So I look forward to seeing how creative everyone gets at home. Yeah. So a few different ways to do this. Okay. First of all, I'm just going to show you just how to put a sort of base coat on the cupcake. This should have been white, but I kind of got carried away chatting. just so the wreath would stand out a bit more on the tree, but that's fine. So I've got a crank handle palette knife here, but you can just use a butter knife if you don't have one of these. And what I'm doing is just kind of piling on buttercream like this. And I'm using the edge of the cupcake case here.
Yeah. And then just scraping it down.
Yeah, so that's kind of why it's kind of, again, you know how I said I like it to rise just under the edge because it makes it easier to decorate. So then once you kind of got it all loaded up, like that, so you kind of have more than you need, then you can sort of like sweep around, you see, and kind of, so sometimes people, you can literally just decorate them in a flick like that. I was going to say, I mean, that looks great as it is, doesn't it? You could do that like that, have a nice, some lovely, should we get some lovely like,
bit of
Christmas tree sprinkles from here. Look at that. I mean, keep it simple sometimes, isn't it? So what a great gift for people as well this Christmas, if you didn't want to, like actually baking for people is a lovely thing to do, isn't it? And it looks really lovely if you have a nice batch all on the table. Yeah. So there's that one. Very nice. I'll get you to have a go at this in a second. Okay. So this is the inspo, and then hopefully we can get decorating. Yeah. So let's just load this one up. How quickly can you do this? Like you say you had a bakery, and I mean, how many would you do in a short space of time? It'd be like, well, for me, I could usually do like about 200 cookies or cupcakes in an hour. Wow. It's like anything, isn't it? You just get quicker. Yeah, the more you do it. So here what I've done is I've just scraped it off and I've just flattened it down a bit. Okay. Because what I'm going to do is use this as a base, a flat base. Yep. I want another one of these because I'm going to do a wreath and a tree. So I'll just do another one. There we go. 200 in an hour. Yeah, you just get. How big was the bakery? It wasn't huge. It's only about I think it was about 900 square feet. Okay. I can't remember this, but we had a retail space. We had a little shop, and then we had a decorating studio. People could look through the glass, and then we had our kitchen out the back. And at our busiest time, we'd have like 8 or 9 people. Oh, brilliant. Yeah. There. So get your bases ready. Now, this is a really fun one. So I'm going to be using the lovely minty sticks that you like here. So I'm going to show you how to make a Christmas tree. Okay. Okay. And you can do this on a cupcake, or once you learn this as well, you can do it on a large cake. You could do them all around the edge. That's the nice thing about baking and cake decorating. You can, a lot of the time, you learn a skill and then you can use it for all sorts of different things. Yeah. So it's going to be quite a tall tree here. Yeah. So he's ready. So let's use dark green. Quite a lot of the time I do like to put a bag clip on the end of my bags, just because they do explode out the top sometimes. That's you can make, no, because I said I'm messy, just sort of, so you can just concentrate on doing your piping. Now, when you're piping with buttercream, a lot of the time where people go wrong, they will try and pipe this whole amount. First of all, that's a lot of icing to squeeze, so it's quite a lot of pressure and you can't control it very well. Second of all, if it's warm, your hands will warm up the icing, it will go running. It just, a lot of people say what happens. You're melting the butter, aren't you? Yeah. So what I like to do is have my clip there, or tie it with a piece of cling film or string, and then I just take a smaller amount like this, and I twist it, just to I feel that it's got the pressure on, it's about to come out. So for this Christmas tree, just literally pipe up your stick. First of all, for your base. The nice thing here is it's completely edible. You're not having to use a cane or something. Use your M&S minty sticks. You can eat the lot. Exactly. That's the thing, because that used to really annoy me when I first started baking. When people put wires and things that weren't edible in it, you'd have to pick it out, especially if you've got kids and things. Yeah, and you've got to tell people, oh, by the way, you've got to you can't eat that. Mind out for the wire. Yeah. So now, I pipe against the stick and just draw it out like that. So that's why I'm using my star nozzle here. Yeah. To make it pointy. And it is really warm in here. It is. So I'm apologising if my tree is a bit floppy. It's not me. No. When it's really warm, the buttercream won't hold its shape. So to start off, I go all the way around at one level, and then I'm just going to build up. So just in between, just squeeze and pull. Squeeze and pull. And I'm kind of like doing it at an angle like that. Smaller as they go. Just kind of small, that's exactly, smaller as they go. And if you made this chiller, I would say if you were going to have it the next day, would you just pop it in the fridge to set it up a bit? You could do, you can put them in the fridge, obviously. If it was particularly warm. Yeah, you can put it in the fridge, but like I say, I mean, you'll probably agree, you don't want to eat something fridge cold because it's got no flavour, so just get it to come out to room temperature before you eat it. Yeah, so So it's kind of just keep going round. And with that stick in there, it gives you the support. So you can do something really 3D, because buttercream obviously wouldn't hold its shape to be you know, having this tall structure.
And again, coming back to the food colouring, using a real liquid one, you're going to get a looser icing, so doing something like this will be less achievable. Yeah, it will make it a bit runny. But I mean, if you've got if that's all you've got, you can make a pastel. You can make a pastel Christmas tree, can't you? You can. Some people like to have like any kind of colour Christmas tree. You get the kind of. Well, I saw one of my friends the other day. She had a rainbow Christmas tree. Do you put a load of decorations up outside the house? Is your house
strobe
do you know?
I wish I did. It's not, I don't think my husband would allow it.
No.
I would have everything on there, like Christmas Vacation. Do you?
Yeah, we do a little bit, but not crazy. I watched. What did I watch? Deck the Halls with Danny DeVito. Have you seen that?
Oh no, I haven't seen that one.
That's a Christmas classic. Have you got a Christmas films on yet at home or not?
Not yet. No, I would definitely get them out soon.
What's your favourite Christmas film?
Oh, I'm tempted to say Elf. But it's not. It's Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's our favourite. We watch it every year, and it's just so funny.
For everyone, what's your favourite Christmas film? Let us know in the comments.
Now, what else do we need on our Christmas tree?
Well, snow would be nice.
Snow.
Oh, look at that. And that's icing.
Just some icing sugar.
It's not talc, is it? It's,
no, I hope not.
Yeah.
There we go. Look, some nice bits.
So
and then what might be nice?
Yeah.
We might want to have one of Percy's friends there.
Yeah, a little reindeer.
Just next to the tree.
Rudolph.
Look, here he goes.
Look at that. Let me spin that around.
Do you want to have a go at one?
I'll have a go, but it's not going to look anything like that. I'll tell you that much.
I'll let you. Do you want to do the whole thing with the base?
Yeah, go on then.
Go on. Let's see.
All right, here we go. So
here we go.
Load a bit of that on.
Just like the Bake Off. Now, so where you gone wrong straight away?
What have I done wrong straight away?
This is why I love teaching people, because I love teaching people, because all you did. You used the crank handle palette knife this way, which is so you want it off the back of the knife.
Right.
Try it again.
So do you actually lift it on? Do you load it on with
onto
the
back of the knife and then scrape it down the side, and you'll just find it'll be a bit neater. See? There you go.
I do find that is neater.
There you go. That's why I like to watch people when they do things, because sometimes it's just the way they're holding a piping bag or the way they're approaching a cake.
Yeah.
And I can just say, change hands. You know. Do it like from this angle, and people are like, oh,
it's like using a tool you've never used before.
I'm sure there's lots of recipes you could teach me, and it's just what you're used to.
Then
look, you see, you're an expert already.
Scraping it down.
There you go. Okay. Look at that.
I'm remembering.
Enjoying it?
Yeah, I am. It's fun. But I'm a quite competitive person, so I'd see myself getting pretty frustrated with myself if they weren't all. And then did you take a bit of that off the top?
Yeah, you can kind of go that way, and then does it go round? There we go.
So the old swoosh.
That's it. Look, there we go.
It's all right. And then we're going to get
You're going to do a tree?
Yeah, I'll do a tree.
Yeah. Lovely.
All right, there we go.
That's your base.
That's my base. Where's my mint stick? Straight in the top. Is that long enough?
Well, you can do
Oh no, I don't want to give myself any pressure. The longer it goes, the bigger the tree's.
The nice thing about doing this, you could make a little collection of all different heights, couldn't you?
So then we went for up the sides
now
first.
Where I'm seeing, are you left-handed or right-handed?
I'm ambidextrous, so it's one of them things I'm not sure which hand I should be using, because it's a straight up the...
So squeeze again, that's it. Lovely. And that's another thing where people sometimes go wrong with piping. They're just not close enough to the cake. You can actually sort of like be touching it. Where sometimes people might pipe from above on a cake, if they kind of just let the icing sort of hang down, it won't form a good uniform shape, so you can be really close to it.
It's going to be like my tree at home, a bit wonky, not put up straight. Probably fall down in the middle of the night.
Oh, no, it's looking good.
Wake up.
So you could do this idea and make some cactuses in summertime, couldn't you?
You could do different colours, different...
That's what I like about doing cake decorating.
Is that
perfect? You've done this before.
And then you've got to
squeeze it,
get away at the end.
Yes, that's it. So you release the pressure at the end when you pull away from the cake, and that will give you a little point if you've got a star nozzle there. That's the lovely thing about being creative with baking. You're always giving yourself ideas for ways that you can use this skill to do something different.
But you could use a bigger stick and a bigger thing and do a different, like on a
huge one.
Do a massive crisp.
The biggest one you could do would be with.
What would you do? Is there something you could use if you were doing something you really wanted to set rather than the buttercream?
You could use royal icing.
Okay. And then
that's royal icing sugar. You can get it in packets, so you just add water to it, or you can make it yourself.
Okay.
And that's basically icing sugar, say 250 grams icing sugar, juice of half a lemon, and 1 egg white, and mix that up, and then that will set really firm, and it will set kind of almost like a rock, really, if you leave it for a long time. So if you want to keep it a little bit soft, you can add a little bit of glycerine in there. But that's the sort of thing we used to use for wedding cakes. It's quite old-fashioned, but yeah, like you say, if you want to maybe ice a biscuit for a gift or something, you don't want to have squishy icing, do you? That's looking really good.
Oh, I'm trying my best.
No,
I just feel
good,
I'm
Chris.
sweating here, you know, next to you, looking at yours there.
It's looking great.
It's just done a wonk.
No, I think it looks good.
Any questions coming in? Is there anything? Has anyone got any general baking questions as well? Now's your chance to find out. If you're baking stuff at home this year, is there anything, not just cupcakes or Christmas cake, but what do you need to ask Juliet about?
While you're doing that, I'm going to get onto my wreath.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I'm just going to show everyone another way of doing the type of decorations. This is the wreath. So it's looking good, Chris.
Oh, thanks.
To make the wreath, what you want to do, hold your piping bag. I haven't got a clip, so I'll grab my clip actually, because thanks, Chris. So to make a wreath, again, you use star nozzle, any type. Close to the cake, squeeze, and just go around the edge of the cake first of all, just to give you a sort of circular base. And then just kind of squeeze blobs is the technical term.
Okay.
And I like to use different shades and different nozzles. So it might go around like this. Oh, that's brilliant, Chris.
It's all right.
Where's your snow? Where's your snow?
Where is my snow?
Hard. That looks really good.
I'll use the snow to cover the bits that aren't.
But that's the thing. This is the thing. This is have fun with it. You know. You can add your snow on there. And any kind of thing you're not quite happy with, you won't even see it, will you? I think that looks really good. That's the first time you've ever done that.
Yeah, I think Santa would like them as well as his mince pies this Christmas.
I think he would.
And then I'll go for a. Well, what can I do? The little.
Oh yes. What is it? What's his name? Is it? What? Let me. I'm going to tell you what he is. Hang on. I'm going out here. I'm going
rogue. Him on there.
He is called Walter.
Walter the dog.
He's found his tree.
And he's got a bit of snow.
We're not saying what he's doing on the tree.
No, we're not actually. Hopefully not. Yeah, hopefully it's still edible after Walter's been near the tree. But he's covered in snow. He's been out for a walk, and then I think
he's had a lovely day.
A few baubles. I like a tree. I like the tacky stuff, me. I like all the old ropey. I like the tinsel and all of that stuff, me. There's none of that. Nothing too fancy.
So my wreath here, I've made a nice circular wreath. I've used different shades. I've used different nozzles, and I've just piped them on. And now I've got some of these Colin. Look, the Colin sprinkles.
Colin sprinkles.
We really create. Obviously, these are great just to sprinkle on your cakes, put around the edge of cakes. But you can use these for the little lights on your wreath. Look, do you want to have a go at doing one of those?
Gotta give it a go.
If we've got time, I don't know if this is the thing. I'm kind of getting carried away here.
Can you freeze these cakes?
Yeah, you can freeze the cakes. Thanks. You can freeze them. You can freeze them just when they're baked as sponges, or you can freeze them with frosting on. If you are freezing with frosting on, it's a good idea to actually freeze them in a box.
Okay.
So they don't kind of get knocked around while they're freezing. But once they're frozen,
would it change the texture or taste? Is it or will it come out just as is?
The best way to defrost them is just literally get them out the evening before. Just let them come to room temperature, and then they'll be fine. But
you can freeze all sort of cake, like Victoria sponge, all of that.
And in actual fact, some sponges improve in texture. I tell you, I'm going to grab a few purses here for my lights.
From freezing it, is that right?
Yeah, we found that when we had our bakery, sometimes some places that we used to supply, we used to supply a shop. Do you remember that programme Towie?
Yeah. I remember Towie.
So we used to supply one of those, the people on Towie for their shop. They had like a boutique. I'm not doing very well here. I've got really sticky hands. And they used to have like cupcakes in their boutique, but they would only want a delivery once a week, so they would like freeze their cakes.
Okay.
But sometimes it really, I don't know how, I don't know what the science is, but it really softens the texture of the sponge.
Oh, so it can actually work out.
Yeah, some recipes work better than others, but it's like anything. Have a go with it. But look, what do you think of these lights on it? Oh, look, you're doing.
Did you do that? I just sort of looked at yours there and thought there was something.
That's it. That's right.
A bit of that around the edge.
And it's, we've done all our baking, and now we've made all our icing. So hopefully,
I can see why people get like addicted to baking at home, and there's Great British Bake Off and all that. Because
like
once
you
you
feel a bit competitive, you're like, right, I'm getting into this.
But competitive with yourself, because you want each one to be better than the last.
It's a fun thing to do, like over the Christmas holidays. Yeah, have a bit of a cupcake decorating competition with your friends, your family. But I mean, just have fun with it, really. What do you think of a wreath?
Yeah, beautiful. It's
like
going to
say,
be better
less
than mine.
is more. So that's that.
Knowing when to stop with it. All right,
Let's just try another encrusted one. I'm going to get one of these here.
Have you got a top tip just for me in general? Like, you know, classic Victoria sponge. How do you get it just so it's still, are we allowed to say the word moist? Because everyone tends to say, oh, they overbake it, or is it dry
Yeah,
out?
they can be a bit, that's just down to overbaking. I think sometimes people just sort of like, if you bake it too long in the oven, just even a few minutes, it's really going to dry it out. So,
just being confident in just getting it out the
just
oven,
make it
right?
just so it's just baked. Definitely.
So
And you can, if you want to, you can add a syrup to a sponge. So you can make something like a sugar syrup with a flavour, and then drill. If you feel it's dry and you've over baked it, just make a syrup by boiling sugar and water and adding some flavouring to it and soaking that onto the sponge, and that'll give you a bit more moistness.
Oh, a bit more moist, even just a bit like doing a drizzle cake sort of thing.
Yeah. So I've just done one here. I'm just going to show people. If you don't want to be all fancy, you just want to be quick. Flat ice.
Oh, I would have just gone for that one, me. I wouldn't have bothered with all this. There's me doing all the fancy stuff. All right, here we go. We're getting there with this.
Oh, looks lovely. Your piping's really good.
It's all right. It's.
That's lovely.
Oh. Right, I need to finish this one up.
Did you go? You went Percy only on that one?
Oh yeah. What was the other one?
No, I like it
because
that's a nice thing as well. Choose your colour schemes. You can go pastel. You can go bright. You can go mixed. You can just go.
I'm going for Percy because he follows me on Instagram. So.
Oh, does he?
Yeah,
oh, I'm jealous now. I've got Percy envy.
You need to follow.
Yeah, come on,
Juliet.
Percy.
There you go. No pressure, Percy.
Percy and his friends.
Right, there we go. A bit of that. Nearly there.
Aww.
Honestly, if anyone makes these at home, please tag us in your pictures. Tag M&S, my Mark's fave, and we look forward to seeing your creations. We've got a few questions coming in. So, if you add alcohol to the buttercream, do you need to change the quantities of butter and icing sugar and things like that?
So, not really. I mean, I think you don't want to add too much, and you just want to have a hint of flavour. You could perhaps make, say you're doing 250 grams of butter, and you want to use quite a lot of liquid. I would beat in maybe 50 mils of your alcohol into that butter, and then rather than adding 500 grams of icing sugar, you might need to go for 550, 600 until you get that stiffer consistency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? Top tip for using gold leaf on cakes. Do you have any tips for doing that?
Don't have any windows open or even flap around because it just flies all over the place. So it is a bit fiddly.
It's an expensive mess, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I just get a couple of clean paint brushes that you haven't used for art. Just keep a couple of those on you, and tip of a knife and a bit of a paintbrush, and that should help you apply it. Okay. And
any tips for panettone?
Well, that is quite tricky. I mean, I must admit, I've only ever attempted it once.
Okay.
So it's a yeasted sweet bread. So I'd say, because I've only attempted it once, maybe ask someone who's an expert on panettone.
Yeah, I guess you just got to keep trying it though, haven't you?
Keep trying,
the more you do it,
it takes a lot of time with all the rising and the yeast and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I'm going to announce the winner of our competition right now. So, Joan Riley, you've won £75 of M&S vouchers. I hope you enjoy that this Christmas, and you're just eating a massive M&S Christmas dinner. So, have we got any further questions before we sign off our last Sparks Live of the year? Get them coming in. I've really enjoyed this, by the way.
Well,
that's
thank
fun.
you. I've really enjoyed it. It's been really fun.
I haven't decorated cupcakes in.
You've done a brilliant job.
Well,
come on.
Until you look at yours, then you think I've done the right job. My tree looks like it's on its last legs. You know, that week just before you decide to take it down, you're like, right, we need to get the tree down.
I think you're being
harsh.
It's
dying. Any last questions? Okay, there we go. So Geraldine would like to know, to bake a gluten-free, can I use...
Yes, so for something simple like a vanilla sponge recipe like we have here, I find it is really easy just to substitute the self-raising flour with a self-raising gluten-free flour blend. That's fine. Also, I've got a really lovely chocolate fudge cake recipe, which is an easy straight swap. If you start to get a bit more technical, sometimes you will have to go to a whole new recipe. But simple sponges like this, you can definitely, if you find a gluten-free blend, just switch it out. And sometimes people find it can be a little bit more dry because the flour's a bit more absorbent. Okay. So you can add a little bit more liquid in there, perhaps another half an egg or some milk or some yogurt, if you're finding that your sponge is a little bit dry.
And one last question from Deborah: how much brandy should you put in your Christmas cake?
Loads of it, Deborah. Just go. No, I do put a lot in mine. So yeah.
The more the merrier. It's Christmas, right?
Yeah, keep soaking it.
Well, that's going to end our festive bake along cupcake. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
I've had a great time.
Brilliant.
I'm going to be eating this for my dinner tonight. And for everyone at home, have an amazing Christmas and join us in the new year. I'll be cooking something healthy after our cupcakes with Tom Daly. So stay tuned for the email updates on that. We'll see you all next year. Have a very Merry Christmas, and thank you, Juliet. Follow her on Instagram.
Thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas. Cheers. Yeah, I'm going in for this. Here we go.
Yeah. That's really cupcake on.
Oh man.